And I'm tired of the games that you play. Tired of the, I don't know the lyrics, but that song is in my head. Tired by Kelly Price. You can go look it up. It's something else. I know that's not the lyrics, but tired. Somebody is tired. And we're gonna get to the nitty gritty. We're gonna get to it, okay? We're gonna get to it, okay? First of all, I want to let you know that you are protected beyond measure. Like you have been protected from the energies and all of the, a lot of people try to uh they look for protection, and they like are like geared up, and they're constantly focused on protecting themselves. And there's this thing of, and we're gonna get to it because I wrote down a lot of big channel messages. Like it's not even this is more than I've written in these last readings. And I just let myself get to everything so I could come to you with the clarity of what came to me as I was tuning into the people that's gonna be watching this video. Excuse me. So what next is true. Archangel Michael is tuning in, tapped in. I don't know what that means to you, but also you have the freedom to follow your heart. Okay? Freedom to follow the desires of your heart. And I got dust off the old supplies. Now, tools. This video is a tool. Okay? Cards, tools. Things that you've been utilizing, tools. All of these things, tools. Even the advice that you get, whether you take it or leave it, it's a tool. You can always put the tool down, pick up another tool, right? Because what does a tool help us do, right? You could take your finger and twist the screw, right? But a screwdriver helps you screw it in tight, helps you get that foundation sturdy in the places where you may not be so in remembrance. It is a understanding amongst people who've begun the evolution process, and in a way that they're following their heart, is that we're remembering who we are. We're not we're not because we're already who we are. We're literally breaking down the barriers to our memory. We've been forgetting, and it's set up that way. I talked about this in another video. It's like method acting. We are forgetting that we have dominion over our minds. We're forgetting the tools that we have to assist us. And so the message was dust off your old supplies, okay? And that also includes your old desires of your heart. When you were a child, there was something that you wanted to do. Something that was there was some things that you wanted to do. And it may not have anything to do with a career or whatever. It's simply something you wanted to do, but you've not given yourself permission to do it. So make sure your choices align with what you truly want. That's a big one. Your heart chakra, sacral, root, and crown, that is all buzzing right now. Uh, Obviously, we want to make sure that we are fully aligned, right? It's maybe this is somebody needing to get a Reiki clearing. Maybe your throat chakra is on 10 because it don't. I didn't get the feeling to write down throat chakra stuff. So the person watching this video, like even these things on my table is blue, 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 and that's the color associated with throat chakra. So I feel that someone has a very active throat chakra. But now is the time to, okay, now that your throat chakra is active, maybe you've not always had an active throat chakra, but in that, now you are harmonizing by allowing your heart to speak. Okay. Now I pull from different things. So, like I said, they're tools. So, today I had the Bible. I also had interesting thing, Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. I had the Fifth Agreement and His Divine Teachings from Krishna Consciousness, Teachings of Katanya. And so, in that, on page 252, it says, if a person's heart is always tied to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord with the rope of love, the Lord does not leave him, even if his remembrance is not perfect. Someone has been concerned about walking this perfect fine line. And there is no perfect fine line. The only line is the line to your heart. And you are, as long as your heart is lined, then all the things that we forget in the gaps that's created in our, forgetting, and all of that is filled in because love is at the forefront. So this allows truth to come forth, but also allows the things that is not for you to fall away. And so that's where the protection comes in. It that's where the protection falls in line. And so we also have devote yourself, connect yourself to the activities of your heart. Now, I wrote, the funny thing is, some of these things, I'll tell you what came from where, but uh most of this is channeled. So devote yourself, commit yourself to the activities of your heart. So when we talk about make sure that your choices align with what you truly want, it's around, okay, you, yourself, the activities of your heart, not the activities that someone else has shared with you. Devotion to remain in touch with gratitude, compassion, love, forgiveness becomes easier, but it doesn't mean one is walking assumed line. Okay, hold up. One is walking some assumed line of spirituality. Sometimes we hold the image of these attributes instead of seeking and simply asking for the understanding and the clarity. So this goes into this feeds directly what I was saying. It's like you're trying to walk this perfect line, right? And the perfection is in the programming. The perfection is what people have told you about this thing. So you're performing spirituality. You're performing, most people, I'm not saying you are, but you have, okay? I think now you're coming into a place where you're not just performing it, you're living it, you're embodying it. And so for that, I want to say I'm proud of you because I'm getting a sense that you're already walking on a certain path. But there's sometimes you are hard on yourself because you forget or you're not always doing things in the way that people wouldn't say that it's a mistake. But in the gaps is where we learn, and that's where we get the wisdom. You know, we get to see how much we remember, right? But it's not something where you get you get some grave consequences because you didn't remember. It's it's those who constantly forget. They're in forgetting. I'm gonna make up a word, in forgettance, because you got remembrance, in forgettance. They have forgotten themselves so much that they've also buried their heart. And so they're so out of touch with their heart space that they create all this suffering for other people. And because we're co-creating, they're creating nightmares for themselves and others. And what you do to another, you do to yourself. And so they're creating this suffering for this misery for others. And it's like, man, that's where you don't want to be, because that's where you're constantly digging your grave. You're digging yourself closer to death more and more. Now, death is a natural thing. Death equals change, change, change. 555. We have death is something that is inevitable. Like you're dying to yourself every moment. You're dying to yourself every day. You're dying to yourself, darling. And it's okay, right? But you have to be aware that this is what's happening because you have to die to the parts of you that have been programmed against you. People have these loud ideas, but they're literally programs going against who your own nature. And these tools that you were once using, they were helping you, but you put them down because you thought that it wasn't aligned or something. You thought that it wasn't there was something wrong with these tools. You began to create an aversion to these tools. Where is that coming from? Interesting. I don't know what kind of bug or fly that is, but I would love for you to leave, but they're staying around this light. We'll focus on that. We'll let that leave later. We'll open the door later. But being aware of what's around you, right? That's something. Things are distractions, and when you recognize things for what they are, you can kind of move things around. But see, when you don't recognize what's coming at you, when you don't see it, right, you don't know its nature. If you don't look within yourself, give that attention to yourself, you don't know the nature. So these tools that you were using, you were learning the nature of things, you were learning the nature of people, you were learning the nature of something. I don't know what tools you might have put down. You might have put down working, you might have put down like something that you were in alignment with your career or something, you might have put that down And it was actually helping you unlock something in yourself, but you put it down because you thought that you should. But it wasn't a should or shouldn't. It was like this was an aligned situation that you kind of let fall to the wayside because you let what you wanted the reality to get in the way of what the reality was. And we tend to do that, right? And so there's something about the tools, like you've been assisted with something and you put the tool down. And I'm getting a strong image of just a line trying to get here. Like you're trying to perfectly line up things and you're like so focused, over focused on the details that you can't line it up. And it's creating all this suffering for you. And so there is something about devotion, right? Devotion to, I'm going to read it again. I feel like I read this. I don't know. Did I read this? Devotion to remain in touch with gratitude, compassion, love, forgiveness. Yes, I said this. Forgiveness becomes easier, but it doesn't mean one is walking some assumed line of spirituality. The fact that I read this again, it's a message that needs to be said. Like people are feeling that they need to, spirituality looks a certain way, right? Even before this video, like I came home from the gym and I said while I was at the gym, I said I was gonna come here and I was gonna do the message, I was gonna deliver the message and go to sleep because I made a commitment to push out these messages, right? So uh I said, I'm like, I'm not caught up in the detail of when it needs to be done or, whatever. It's just like I will have space in my day to create, to even if it's a 5 minute message, it's gonna come through. Uh I'm committed to at least creating the message, whether I post it or not. I'm not creating it, but bringing it through my vessel. I'm creating the content, is what I'm saying. And so when I got here, I forgot all about it, but it was a line that I forgot, right? Because I went in the bathroom and took a shower, and I had all my little, jewels on, the stuff I like to do, and my little, had my red lipstick on, and uh had my cute little gym outfit on or whatever, right? I call it cute, It wasn't nothing. It was literally a white tee and some a fitted white tee and some leggings, whatever. But I felt cute in it. You know what I'm saying? My body is shifting to a thing that I am loving. I'm devoting myself to honoring my body now. And it's something that was a tool. Our body is a tool. And at one point, my tool was being used against me. And I'm gonna get more into that too, about things being used against us. But uh, my body became a tool that was being used against me, where I was at the whim of the things that I couldn't see anymore. And it was because I was so out of touch with my body. I was getting sick. There were so many things that was happening, and it was just like my body is getting sick to notify me of this thing, which I wasn't giving my body enough attention. So my body would have to scream loud at me. And it'd be like, oh, it got to scream loud at me for me to hear it. I was feeling like my body was betraying me at one point. This is for somebody because it's coming out. So this is for somebody. Somebody might be feeling this way. But I was feeling like my body was betraying me, and I was so just like over it. I was just like, why is this happening? But my body is a tool. So my devotion to realign myself with this tool has been a huge shift for me, because now I'm devoted to the things that's going to support and honor my vessel, to support and honor this tool. Because really, our body is a tool of the soul. You understand? So, our soul, when I talk about heart, I feel that it's interchangeable with, truth, joy, love, our heart. All of that encompasses. So, where the compassion and empathy lies, it sits at the seat of our soul. I felt an emotion. I felt that I just, oh man, dropping into your heart space. It can be scary sometimes because we're so taught to hide our feelings, hide our emotions, hide our heart. It's not safe, that's what we're told. But oh, that's why, You need to dust off your tools because you need to remember and remember your safe spaces. And your body, of all things, needs to be seen as a safe space. Your body, of all things, if you're not safe anywhere else, you need to feel safe within your body. And if you don't feel safe within your body, outside of you is not going to feel safe. You could pull in all the protection you want. You could have all these things and say, I'm protected. But if you don't feel protected inside, you're not protected outside for real, for real. Now, where the gaps of forgetting happens when you align with your heart is where it's like all the protection sits there, right? You being aligned with the love, the heart space, the strength. You have the strength of a lion when you're in your heart. You can conjure up things without even doing spells with your heart because your heart is aligned and you'll be guided to that which supports more of your heart because you're devoted to your heart. You're devoted. So when you're in a situation and you are challenged with this thing, when you drop into your heart and seek understanding of this thing that's right here, then the truth reveals itself. And there is joy that comes behind that truth or with the truth. It's like, when you become, when truth becomes humorous to you, when truth becomes medicine for you, instead of a thing that is an aversion, a thing that you push away, a thing that you fear. Whenever somebody fears somebody speaking a truth, whenever somebody fears that, it's because they haven't aligned with their own truth, with their own heart. They're fearing that this thing might seep into them somehow. And it's like, I'm trying to keep it out. But the fact that it came to you and was able to come into your cipher means that you have the capacity to handle it. However, we don't remember how to handle things. We don't remember where to go or the tools that we are to use. We don't remember. There's a barrier there, right? But the wisdom happens when knowledge lines up with experience. And so, let me see. Sometimes we hold the image of these attributes instead of seeking and simply asking for the understanding and the clarity. Yes, ask for the clarity. That's what, ask for the clarity, ask for the understanding. Your life, okay, so this was funny. So I pulled up The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, and how I divine with my books is I will concentrate on on the collective that's watching the video, or the person that's in front of me, or the person I'm talking to, or myself. Like whoever is for, I tune into the energy and I open the page to a random page, and it always gives me a line message every time. So the funny thing about this is I opened it to a blank page, and I was like, hey, no need for me to change this because I didn't reach a page with words on it. Now that the blank page was at the end of the book. Yes, there's a few more pages after it, but typically a book, when you're writing, when you publish a book, they advise you to put blank pages in the beginning and the end of the book because it's I forgot the reason why, but also it works for the page numbers and making sure that things are in place properly. So anyways, the fact that I opened it to a blank page, this is where your life is a blank page. You can create cleanly from this place. So I skipped all the money, wisdom, and everything that was in this book. I skipped it all and went to a blank page. So to me, it's saying that you have the tools already. All the wisdom of everything has been instilled in you already. Like you don't have to keep seeking knowledge on how to handle your money, on how to change your money beliefs. Like whoever's watching this video, there has been a shift in your beliefs already. Like you feeling more solid in yourself already. So there's not a, because you're feeling so solid in yourself, there's not a belief or a doubt that can really truly keep you from what you're creating unless you let it. Unless you keep thinking that you're in the old version of yourself, but you've moved forward. You've moved. So unless you keep thinking that you have to be some idea of perfection, there's no way that you're not going to be successful in the things that you write on this blank page. Somebody needs to create something from this state. It's so aligned. I hope that I'm not muffled. I hope that the truth is clear. So it went kind of deep in my pocket there. But, there is, you can create cleanly from this place. So there's a purity of where you have reached. And if you haven't reached it yet, you are about to reach it. But the message is aligning your heart. And so from an aligned heart space, things in the pathway becomes clear. Before I was doing this video, I found myself clearing out little paths everywhere, and I wasn't even realizing it. My daughter, she left, and I was like, oh, okay, um, there was just, it was natural. I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just clearing the pathways. And so beware of constantly seeing your life in illusion of where you want it to be versus seeing reality for what it is. We are all dreaming awake. That, and this actually was inspired by when I opened the page to the fifth agreement. So you all know the fourth agreements. If you don't know the four agreements, is don't make assumptions, uh, be impeccable with your word. Mm, is don't make assumptions, be impeccable with your word, uh, always do your best, because your best might not always be the same from day to day. So when people say your best, people start looking for, perfection. And it's like, no, why are we looking for perfection? We don't need to seek perfection. Um, and then when you make assumptions about people and what they're doing, these things tend to catch us up, because now we're in the story of what we think is going to happen, and we frame things from what we think is going to happen versus what is actually happening. So, you know, that's the not making assumptions, is beware of seeing an illusion of where you want it to be versus seeing the reality for what it is. It's like, you could ask for truth and truth will be revealed to you. But if you want to believe the stories that you were programmed to believe about seeing somebody's action, like they'd be like, oh, if they walk like a duck, they quack like a duck, it's a duck. But what if I walk like a duck and I quack like a duck? It don't make me a duck. However, because that such we're programmed to feel that way, then when we look at something, regardless of, it might be something very different, because on a major level the intentions is different. So someone who did this thing from this intention versus someone who did things from this intention, you won't know the difference if you're only looking at the visual, the illusion, the what is shown in the dream. We're dreaming awake, so it's like think about when you go to sleep, right? You're dreaming of symbols. It's more abstract because you're not conscious of it, but you're dreaming of these symbols. And you don't have to, but if you want to, you could interpret them, right? But it doesn't mean how you interpret the symbols is accurate, right? But how you interpret the symbols says, it reveals where you are, it exposes where you are right then. And so if it's something that you are needing to pay attention to, the symbol will reveal itself to you, and you will have the opportunity to pay attention to this thing, and what you give attention to, it grows. So you paying attention in these areas, me now paying attention to my body, my awareness is growing in that area. So the tool is awareness, the attention is a tool. And so here you're using your beautiful tool of attention to now grow where you are. And don't take anything personally. That's the other agreement. Don't take anything personally. This is a big one, because um, not taking anything personally is what keeps us in alignment with the reality. Because when you take something personal, that's when you start creating stories. That's when you start believing the story. And then that's when you become the victim of the story. And it's like, the victim of the story. Well, the fifth agreement is be skeptical, but learn to listen. So the when we talk about observation, okay, you got things coming at you, right? And instead of creating stories about it, right, you can be skeptical. It might sound a little funny. You know what I mean? It might not be what you're used to hearing. It might be off. It might sound a little funny, right? But when you listen, you hear beyond what's being said, shown, or whatever. But you're not making up a story about it. You're seeing it for what it is, right? Even in the seeing beyond it, it's seeing for what it is. But it's the wisdom that helps you to see beyond it. But when we police ourselves and we push stuff behind us, then we get rid of the tool that assist us in that alignment. And so, um, when you start paying attention to your dreams, it becomes okay. Now let me go back. Wait, we are all dreaming awake, and that okay. That's why the dream. I'm trying to read my handwriting out. We are all dreaming awake. That's why the dream feels so real. Your oh, I gotta do better. I gotta do better, y'all. Oh, I can't read this. Your you are creating. You're living the dream that you created. That's what I'm just. Oh, your reality. I wrote it all in one. Your reality is the dream you created and co-created with fellow dreamers. Your neighbor. Love thy neighbor yet? is it's a dream that you're co-creating. So when you start paying attention to your dreams, it becomes a lucid dream that you can observe and change the script to. You unlearn the programming. The same way you learn is how you unlearn. At some point, you were told, put away childish things, but you put away your imagination, and because you stopped using the tools you thought were childish, you began to continue or experience the nightmare. And uncontrollably, you now feel stuck in a dream that was never yours. Your imagination worked against you because you removed the dominion you had over your mind. Now your dream is rooted in suffering. This is big, y'all. Like that was like more channel. I didn't copy that from the book. It was I saw a part of it about the dreaming, and then it just triggered all of this. And so really, the suffering that we are creating for ourselves is really fucking us up, y'all. Like it's really putting us in a place that we are like, yo, it is time. I'm tired. I am so tired. I'm tired of bumping my head against the wall. I'm tired of stressing. I'm tired of going through these same loops. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. You hear me? And so I feel you're tired. I feel it. It's heavy. You're tired. And you can rest in your own heart. You can truly rest because your connection with the divine is beyond. It's like your connection with the divine is your connection to love, right? And so when it even talks about the supreme being, it's like your connection to that which is bigger than us all. Love is bigger than what we can even comprehend. It's huge. I don't even I don't even think most people understand love. Because if they understood love, they wouldn't be so afraid of it. They wouldn't be so afraid of showing it. They wouldn't be so afraid of embodying it. Because love is a thing that we have to experience for ourselves first. So if we never even experience love out like or learn to recognize it outside of us, then it's in loving ourselves that we choose to have the experience of love. And then we recognize it outside of us because we love ourselves. So we know that if somebody comes to us with something that we will never give to ourselves, that's not love. That's not love for us. They might be trying to love us the way they want to be loved. But again, that's seeing the reality for what they want it to be versus what it actually is. So you're coming at me with this thing you call love for yourself, but it's really filling a void that you have. And so you're thinking, I need that same void filled. And so you're coming to me, but you're not seeing me, right? So this is the message to somebody. People are coming to you and they haven't been seeing you. And so now you're like, you know what? You haven't been seeing me, but I see myself. So have the I don't have the wherewithal anymore to try to get you to see me. I'm tired of all of that. You know what I'm saying? Either you see me or you don't. But I am a lucid dreamer in this dream. My imagination is no longer working against me because I now know my imagination is another tool. And when they said put away childish things, they did not mean to put away the things that we did as a child. That means putting away the things that are unwise, the foolish things, the things that work against us, the things that tell us that, you know, we're doing the things that tell us to do this thing that clearly works against where we're trying to go. So if I say I wish for my vessel to be whole and healthy, right? And I know that I've been beating it up for 30 years, then I know that I need to pay attention to my body's needs more. I need to be more attentive. If I'm in a relationship, I need to be more attentive in that relationship, right? Otherwise, the relationship becomes stale, stagnant, or destructive because we're not paying attention. Feed what you want to live and starve what you want to die. So, in that, uh, okay, so the Bible passage is Psalms 103 and Psalms 105. But 105 stood out to me is also to say that your prayers have been heard. And don't think just because you're not seeing certain things in your reality that you've been not being heard, that you've not been protected. Because actually, what you were protected from yourself and your own thoughts. Those times where you've been in your heart so much at times that you've been protected from something that could have really took you out. Some of y'all ain't supposed to be here. And it's not that you're not supposed to be here, it's that if you didn't have that protection over you, you wouldn't have been here. But because you were walking in alignment with your heart, there was more that you wanted to experience in this dream. So you haven't been awakened from this dream yet, right? Meaning death. Weirdly, death is an awakening. And I know it's like, So really, if when we look past the grief of missing our loved one, when we look past the empathy and the sympathy of what they may have gone through in the process of transition, when we look past all of that, we can actually see that death is actually us waking up from the dream. So, in essence, we want to be and celebrate and be happy for the vessels that are getting awakened from their dreams. But unfortunately, when we die in a nightmare, we experience the nightmare before we wake up. That's the secrets to the other side. There's more to know and experience once you wake up from the dream. When you're asleep in this reality, when you're asleep and you're dreaming, yeah, your mind is not concocting or controlling. Your conscious mind is not trying to control things and not trying to get your dream to be perfect. So when you wake up, now if you remember, you have only what what you dreamt and only the option to review what you dreamt. You don't have the option to go try to change what you just dreamed about. You lived the dream. You experienced the dream while you were sleeping, and now you're in review. You don't have to review it. You could breathe and move on and experience and go about your day and look at it like, oh, that dream was reflecting my inner processing. And in that, I didn't even get to the cards today. I pulled the cards. I don't want to get to the cards. I don't want to do the cards today, y'all. I don't even. Again, these are tools. These are things you could pick up and you could put them down. You don't have to be a slave to your tools. Your tools don't have to be used in the same way all the time. You have dominion over your mind, how you respond to things, what you choose to pick up, what you choose to put down, what you choose to learn, unlearn, you know? And sometimes things get in your programming through the gates without you having conscious wisdom or knowledge about it because you weren't taught to recognize that thing. So to fill in the blanks, your mind makes assumptions about what this thing is, and then it's like, you decide on something before you really have the experience and the wisdom of it. And that's where things get dangerous. So there's this idea of now just balancing your emotions enough that you are trusting what you give your attention to. And so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end this video, but there is a trust that's needing to be had about where your heart is guiding you. And there are some things that you're just needing to let go of. Even if it's forgiveness, there's things that you're needing to let go of so that you can feel the harmony of all of the work that you've done. You've been working, you've been doing a lot of work, you've been unlearning things. But that's why this message of, where when you're in love, when you're operating in love, that line is what keeps you protected. That line is what shifts when you're not in remembrance. When you are forgetteth of things, when you are in forgettance, you are protected, you are loved. And I'm going to conclude this transmission. And as always, be your lovely, ugly self. Always. Leave what you don't need and take what you need on from the shelf. I said that different this time. It didn't flow the same. I got to do that again. Take what you need and leave the rest on the shelf. But always be your lovely, ugly self. I'll be switching that out. I'm trying to find a groove there, but I like that. I like the way we put that. But this is what it's like. It's seeing trying the suit on, you know. It's trying it on, it's experiencing it, seeing how you feel about it, and observing yourself in the feeling rather than reacting and responding so quickly from what you feel about a thing before you've given yourself a true chance to feel the thing out. So, anyways, yes, peace, be easy, be love, but be you.